Chicago's #1 news.
When you have somebody like he seems to have been, there are multiple victims, and there may be others.
Francis Cardinal George reacts to new abuse charges filed against a Chicago Roman Catholic priest. Father Daniel McCormick appeared in court today on charges of sexually abusing 2 boys. Good evening, everyone. I'm Karen Jordan.
And I'm Rob Johnson. Father McCormick is free on bond tonight. He now stands accused of abusing a total of 5 children. ABC 7's Ben Bradley joins us with more on the story. Ben.
Rob, the new charges allege that Father McCormick continued to abuse a child even after police had questioned him last summer, even after the Archdiocese assigned someone to monitor McCormick. Tonight, Francis Cardinal George tells us that he continues to agonize over the decision he made to allow McCormick to remain in the parish. Father Dan McCormick takes what has become a familiar walk for him at the Cook County Criminal Courts building. He passes reporters, says nothing, and then hops into a waiting car.
Your attorney looked quite frustrated.
The new allegations involve 2 boys. One was 10 years old at the time. He was on McCormick's basketball team and tells police the priest fondled him in the church's rectory. The second boy was 11 and a student at the church school. He claims to have been inappropriately touched by McCormick as recently as January.
The allegations are that Daniel McCormick, who is a teacher at that school and a coach, fondled the genitals of this victim on nearly a daily basis in the school.
It really shocked me because now here he is, he's you physically harmed these people, these children, and mentally. You know, you scarred those children for life.
The new charges appear to bolster the claims of church critics who say Cardinal George should have immediately removed McCormick last summer after the first abuse allegations surfaced. If the current charges prove true, it would mean the Archdiocese could have prevented a child from being abused.
The apparatus didn't do what it was supposed to do, and I have to live with that, and I will the rest of my life. Nobody should have been abused.
The Archbishop of Chicago told ABC 7's Alan Kraszewski today that the McCormick case continues to stun church leaders. Until McCormick, all of the allegations against priests were decades old.
Suddenly, we had one that happened now, and we didn't respond the way we should have. And so there are reasons for that. Nobody covered up explicitly, nobody lied, but the apparatus didn't do what it was supposed to do.
Dan McCormick is now living with a relative in the suburbs. A judge reminded him today that a condition of his bond is that he not have any contact with anyone under the age of 18. Robin Karen, the Archdiocese continues to ask anyone with information on Father McCormick or any other priest for that matter to come forward.
And is there any concern that there really are more victims out there?
Well, Cardinal George, interestingly enough, today said that it is possible that there are other victims out there. Police will certainly look into that. Whether or not the Archdiocese has more information that it's already turned over to police, though, we just don't know.
Okay. Ben, thank you
for that. Also tonight, 5 men were briefly detained today after an American Airlines flight landed at Newark International Airport in New Jersey. Flight 1874 took off from Dallas and landed in Newark this afternoon. At some point during the flight, a federal marshal on the plane notified authorities that 5 men were acting suspiciously. Once the plane landed, Port Authority officials took the men into custody for questioning. Some passengers on the flight said the men were speaking in foreign languages and had aircraft materials with them. It turns out the men, 4 Angolan military personnel and an Israeli, were traveling back to their home countries after attending helicopter training school in Texas.
Elsewhere, an 8-month-old baby is hospitalized tonight after a frightening ordeal. The infant was strapped in a car seat overnight when someone carjacked his parents' car. Mark Jackson stopped to get something to eat at a hot dog stand at 117th and Halsted around 1 a.m. Jackson's wife was waiting in the car with the baby when someone came up and ordered her out of the vehicle. Investigators say the suspect ignored her pleas to remove the baby boy from the back seat. The suspect took off but ended up crashing the car into another vehicle a few blocks away. The baby was not hurt in the crash, but doctors want to keep him in the hospital overnight for observation.
Just very, very scared for the life of our son. And I was the same way. I mean, we were on foot and made it to almost 112th, chasing after the car before we were held by the police. The police immediately responded.
It turns out a Chicago police officer was at a hot dog stand, when all this unfolded. The suspect was injured in the crash and is expected to be charged when he is released from the hospital.
Cook County nurses say progress has been made in 2 days of contract negotiations. They ended talks earlier tonight, saying they do not plan to strike. The nurses say another session with management is scheduled for May 17th. They promise to stay on the job until then. The nurses say they want the same pay as other nurses and better working conditions.
If nurses don't feel that they can deliver quality patient care, they're burned out because they have too many patients, or they're being floated to areas where they don't feel that they have the competency, then that's going to affect their ability to provide that care, and then they're going to make a decision whether or not they're going to stay at county. So these are
The National Nurses Organizing Committee represents more than 1,700 nurses at Stroger, Provident, and Oak Forest hospitals. The county says it'll negotiate for as long as it takes to reach an agreement.
A North Suburban teacher has pleaded guilty to possessing child pornography. Thomas Miller was charged back in December with having child pornography on 2 of his computers. In a plea deal, Miller admitted knowing that one image was of a girl who was under 12 years old. Miller taught math at Wilmette Junior High School for 7 years. He's not accused of any misconduct with students, though. Miller will be sentenced in July.
A massive water main break slows traffic in northwest Indiana. This was the scene earlier this evening along a stretch of Route 30 in Schererville. Pressure from the break sent water shooting several feet into the air and into 2 lanes of traffic. Drivers were able to slowly pass through the water. No word on what caused that water main break.
Free car wash, too, for you as you drive. There's much more ahead tonight for us. Mayor Daley receives a lesson in religious history, and he and his companions are touring one of the most famous biblical places.
Also, Chicago celebrates its Polish Pride today.
And a best-selling novel comes to the big screen. Roger Ebert reviews Boot.
K&G has over 4,000 men's suits in every store, starting at just $99.99. So you'll find what you're looking for, no matter what you're looking for. K&G Fashion Superstore. Call 1-800-GO-SHOP-KG.
Starting Monday at 5 a.m., it's all about Z's. As Jose Sanders and the ABC 7 morning team look at everything to help you sleep better. Plus new ideas on getting a good night's rest. Eyes wide shut starting Monday at 5 a.m.
What'd you watch on TV last night?
Nothing. I lost my remote. I mean, I looked high and low for that remote. Like it just vanished. Poof, into thin air. Looked above the bookshelf, out in the car, under the thingy by the frog statue. It was like ridiculous.
New Yoplait Light Thick and Creamy. The first light yogurt thick enough to hug a spoon.
How does a remote get in a freezer? I mean...
Now Yoplay's great taste in Yoplait Light Smoothie.
Some gamblers choose a table because it just feels right. To others, a certain dealer makes all the difference. But no matter how you decide, you're always going to find the very best chance to win big. That's legendary gambling, only at Horseshoe Casino Hammond.
At a department store, you can get a 100% wool suit for $299.99. K&G has 100% wool suits that look just as stylish for a third of that. K&G, for men, for women, for less.
ABC 7 News at 10 continues with Rob Johnson, Karen Jordan, weather with meteorologist Phil Schwartz, and sports with Jeff Clancy. This is ABC 7 News at 10.
A U.S. transport helicopter has crashed in the mountains of eastern Afghanistan, killing all 10 U.S. soldiers on board. The CH-47 Chinook transport helicopter went down last night near the Afghan-Pakistan border. The military has not released a cause for the crash, but says enemy action was not a factor. And in Iraq, a British helicopter was shot down in Basra, killing all 4 crewmen on board. Iraqi police say fighting developed on the ground as British rescuers arrived at the crash site. 5 Iraqis were killed and some British troops were injured in that fighting.
Mayor Daley received a lesson in biblical history today on the final leg of his Middle East tour. The mayor and his companions toured one of the most revered biblical places, Galilee. ABC 7 political reporter Andy Shaw is traveling with the mayor and has more on what's being called his trip for tomorrow.
Saturday in Israel is like Sunday in the U.S., a day without a lot of politics or government activity, and that makes it a perfect day for Mayor Daley and his traveling companions from Chicago to get another biblical history lesson up close and personal. Rolling through the scenic Galilee in the north of Israel, where some of the most significant events in the life of Jesus Christ took place, as related in the New Testament. Mount of the Beatitudes, where Jesus delivered the Sermon on the Mount, saying, "The meek shall inherit the earth." Capernaum, where St. Peter lived and led worshipers in an adjacent synagogue, and the Church of the Primacy, where Jesus appeared to St. Peter after the resurrection. The mayor seeing all of this for the first time.
It shows you what the world should be today. It should be peaceful, existence between religions, between ethnic and racial groups, all coming together in regards to living in peace for another better world.
We learn together about one another's heritage, and we enhance the kind of respect that we have back in Chicago.
They're also visiting the tiny village of Fasuta, where all of the Arab residents are Catholic. And thanks to a donation from Jewish and Catholic leaders back in Chicago, all of the computers have been upgraded with software in English, Hebrew, and Arabic, and for the first time, connected to the internet.
I think it's very important for our community, for our country also, and it teaches us how to build together our society.
The only controversy on an otherwise perfect day of seeing the sights, an Israeli policeman pulling over the mayor's tour bus and giving the driver a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt. The kind of traffic enforcement crackdown that Daley is famous for back in Chicago. On the shores of the Sea of Galilee in northern Israel, I'm Andy Shaw, ABC 7 News.
Tomorrow is Mayor Daley's final day in Israel. The mayor will get a close-up look at the controversial security fence built by Israel to keep the Palestinians from Gaza and the West Bank. Andy Shaw will report on that visit tomorrow, beginning on our news at 5 p.m.
Well, today's sunshine gave way to another cool night out there. Next in his forecast, Phil Schwartz tells us if more bright skies are in the mix for our Sunday.
Also, a new family movie hits theaters this weekend. Roger Ebert offers his review of Hoop.
Plus, an annual event that's a doggone good time for people and their pets.
And in later in sports, a very happy ending to an incredible story at the Kentucky Derby.
What are you doing? I'm trying to call my mom, find out what she wants for Mother's Day, but her service never works. Man, you know, if only she had a more reliable network and a newer, cooler phone. Yeah. You got any ideas?
Nope. Looking for the perfect Mother's Day gift? Get the only razor that comes with the network, the VCast razor. Sleek, stylish, and just $79.99 for a limited time. Verizon Wireless. It's the network.
At what point does a car do more than take you from point A to point B? When does it come to life? When does it become your co-conspirator? When does a car become more than just a car? Introducing the all-new 268 horsepower Toyota Camry. It's time to move forward.
Hey, son. So, you're turning 13, becoming a man. Your hormones are surging, starting to notice the girls. You know, maybe your body's doing some funny things. So, you want to talk? Or we could talk about drugs.
Yeah, let's talk about drugs.
There's no wrong way to talk to your kids about drugs. Need help? Get help. Visit our website at drugfree.org.
A young boy tries to save some endangered owls in the movie version of best-selling novel Hoot. The movie opens this weekend, but ABC 7 movie critic Roger Ebert says there's no saving this movie.
Hoot is a family movie about 3 outlaw teenagers who stage guerrilla warfare against a man who wants to build a pancake house outside of town. That's because his construction will destroy a colony of burrowing owls who live in holes in the ground and are an endangered species. Logan Lerman stars as the new kid in town, and Cody Lindley is the wild child who lives in the wilderness and is sort of a cross between Huckleberry Finn and Tarzan.
They have no proof of any owls. You folks see any owls? Because I don't.
There sure is owls.
Why would they come out of their holes while everybody's here? All we do is make noise.
The third member of their team is a school soccer star played by Brie Larson. At first, she is hostile to the new student, but later they become good friends.
My dad and Lana, they got in this huge fight, and I mean huge. She threw a clock radio at his head, so I beamed her with a mango. She went berserk. I didn't know where else to go.
If you want, you can stay here.
Really?
Luke Wilson has a thankless role as the idiot cop who stakes out the Pancake House construction site but can't catch the kid doing anything.
0356. Still no sound. Still no visuals. Just me in the night. A lone wolf. Stalking his prey.
One good question about Hoot is, why are they building a pancake house in a forest with no major roads? Another question is, how do these kids get away with their Greenpeace Act and convince everybody in town to turn up for the big climax? The movie was made by some of the same people who made the great family movie Holes. That was about kids digging holes in the ground instead of owls. I think it makes a difference. I give Hoot 1.5 stars, and I'm Roger Ebert, ABC 7 News.
Coming up tonight at 10:35, Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible 3. Ebert and Roper will have their reviews tonight right after this newscast.
Polish Pride is being celebrated this weekend in Chicago. Take a look. The Polish Constitution Day Parade made its way down Columbus Drive this morning. The parade has been a Chicago tradition since 1891. Chicago said to be second only to Warsaw when it comes to Polish population. ABC 7, a proud sponsor of the parade. You can check out some of the familiar faces on our float as it rolls by. There's Kevin Roy. Wave, Kevin. There's Paul Meinke. Smile. Wave the flag, Paul.
Who else was there?
There's Linda Yu.
Jim Rose. There he is.
Rose,
Jerry Taft.
Jerry Taft. Jerry. Part of the gang there.
A
Very
good
nice
showing, and they certainly had really good weather for that today, and nice weather, but I'm sure other parts of the country not having as good weather as we did today.
Yeah, down south there was some severe weather, but nothing that widespread, but boy, what a great day we had today. Lots of sunshine, a little bit cool. Tomorrow promises to be somewhat warmer. And guess what? We're going to get to keep the sunshine as well. So get ready for 2 more sunny and mild days, though we will see a few more clouds as we head into Monday. We do have a chance of seeing some storms on Tuesday, but the best chance of rain doesn't come until about Wednesday. And we could use the rain by then because we still have a rainfall deficit. Now, no, it went right past me for some reason. But in any case, we have a rainfall deficit nowhere near what we had last year. Last year at this time, from March 1st to May 6th, we had a deficit of almost 4 inches. This year's deficit is about 1/3 of an inch, but we still haven't made up much of the rainfall deficit from all of last year. So we could use some rain. We're not going to see it right away, but midweek we could see some rain. 58, that was our high today. 8 degrees below normal. That's after a low of 40 degrees, and right now we're down to 47. Winds very light out of the south at 3. Other numbers for you. 50 Midway, 51 downtown. Zion, you're down to 42, and out in DeKalb right now, the temperature stands at 50 degrees. Satellite view shows a few clouds trying to sneak in from the south. No precipitation with these clouds. You got to get way south of here, south of St. Louis, very southern tip of Illinois, some rain showers, and a few thunderstorms once you get down into sections of Mississippi and Alabama, but nothing severe with these storms, at least not now. Earlier, when this system went through Texas, we did have some severe weather. Matter of fact, some storm chasers caught this very well-pronounced tornado, kind of a what we call wedge-shaped tornado. This was in a very rural area to the west of Waco. It did not cause any damage, but you can see that tornado very well defined right there as the chasers drive kind of parallel to that tornado. Here's the high-pressure system responsible for the sunshine today. That moves off to the east. Southeast winds tomorrow means a little bit warmer air, and then this system starts to approach on Monday. Now, you can see the rain holding back to our west. That won't get in here until possibly on Tuesday. High temperatures tomorrow, probably up around 70 degrees. You can see
Temperatures fairly uniform across the Midwest. St. Louis about 69, 71 in Minneapolis. As I said, we'll be close to 70 degrees tomorrow, at least away from the lakefront. Mostly clear, kind of chilly tonight, a low of 42. Sunny again tomorrow, but warmer. High lakefront 64, well inland 74, most places within a degree or two of 70 degrees. As we look ahead to the next 7 days, even warmer as we head into Monday and Tuesday, but there could be a storm later Tuesday. Best chance of rain Wednesday, and then cooler for the latter part of the week. However, we should start to warm up again as we head towards next weekend. So a beautiful finish to the weekend, even nicer than today as it will be warmer.
All right, good to know.
Yeah. Looks good. We'll take it. Thanks, Phil.
Right, you bet.
It was Dog Day morning at Montrose Harbor. The annual Bark in the Park raises money for the Anti-Cruelty Society, which improves the lives of more than 25,000 animals each year. ABC7 is a proud sponsor of this event. Roz Varon out there supporting the cause, though we don't have video of her. She seems to do that every year. And a new feature at the finish line this year, massages, not only for the humans who are walking the dogs, but for the dogs themselves, because that is a long walk.
It is very important to pamper yourself.
A puppy massage. Indeed.
And next in sports, the Cubs just want to get at least one run, while the Sox look to start another winning run of their own.
And then later, a special night for some Little Leaguers at U.S. Cellular Field. We will explain. Stay tuned.
Weather on ABC7, brought to you by ComEd and Exelon Company.
State Treasurer Topinka sits on the board that oversees $10 billion in state pension investments. Yet for 11 years, she's never attended a single meeting, not one.
That's the kind of no-show job I'd like.
80 missed meetings. What's she thinking?
We're on a journey to find real people who love their Weber grills, like college student and Campus Barbecue Club president Andrew Gress.
This is an official barbecue club meeting. We don't have roundtable discussions, we have round barbecue discussions. 30 years old, this grill. This is an heirloom from my father. When I moved out of the house to go to college, I brought this with me because this is the grill he taught me on.
Real people.
I love being a college student, that's why I've been one for so long.
With real passion for their Weber grills.
The testament is it lasts.
Go to WeberNation.com to find out more about what you get when you buy a Weber grill.
The best ideas don't occur in the confines of an office. They can be found anywhere. Which is why at GMC, we seek out the world's greatest engineering innovations and put them to use. Introducing the all-new 2007 GMC Yukon with more power, greater fuel efficiency, and details crafted with exacting precision. It's engineering beyond the drawing board. GMC, engineered to the highest standard, professional grade.
It's very difficult to define what is an assault weapon. I mean, a rolling pin could be an assault weapon if you really want to look at it that way.
Topinka opposes an assault weapons ban supported by our police because she says it could ban a rolling pin. What's she thinking?
Jeff Lansley off tonight, Ryan Cheverini in for Jeff, and we're talking Kentucky Derby, the big one every year.
You got it. You know, the horse that won this thing is undefeated, which is a pretty good story, but the trainer has a much better story than that. Nearly 17 years ago, a horse trainer named Michael Matz was on a flight from Denver to Chicago when the plane cartwheeled down a runway, caught fire, and skidded to a stop in an Iowa cornfield. Matz somehow got out of the plane and rescued 3 kids from the wreckage. Today, he had his moment at the Kentucky Derby. And they're off. It was the 132nd running of the prestigious Kentucky Derby, held annually on the first Saturday each May. Close out of the gate, but not down the stretch.
6 toward the rail, but they're coming to the finish, and it is all Barbaro in a sublime performance. He runs away from them all, and he has saved something left for the Preakness. Barbaro wins by 7. Bluegrass Cat was
Barbaro wins by 6.5 lengths, the largest margin of victory in 60 years. Michael Matz celebrating with his family, also celebrating in the grandstands the 3 kids he rescued from the plane crash, all grown up. What a story.
We never wavered one bit from our plan that my assistant and I wanted to do for this horse, and looks like we made the right plan.
It's pretty special. On to baseball, the White Sox had its 10-game home winning streak snapped last night by giving up 4 runs in the 9th to the worst team in baseball, the Kansas City Royals. In fact, the Sox account for 3 of KC's wins this season. They only have 7. Bottom of 3rd, Sox up 1-0, and Brian Anderson adds to that with a solo shot. His 3rd homer on the year. It makes it 2-0. Then in the 5th, Sox up 3-zip. How about Jim Thome again? 2 men on, his 13th on the year. I'm telling you, this guy is going to hit 50. Meanwhile, Javier Vasquez took a shutout into the 6th. He gave up just 4 hits, struck out 6 as the Sox win 9-2.
Well, it was a big win. Hopefully now we can get back on another big roll here. And, you know, we've been doing a good job at that. When we lose a game, we don't lose 2, 3, 4 in a row, and I think that's huge.
Well, you think the Cubs are missing Derek Lee from the lineup about now? They entered tonight's game having not scored a single run in 25 consecutive innings. They've been shut out in 4 of their last 6 games, but not tonight. That's because Aramis Ramirez comes up in the 4th inning, and he flexes his muscles. A shot to left. That gets the Cubs on the board, and that's where it sits right now. The Cubs up 1-0 in the 4th. Well, first he's playing, then he's not, then he's thinking about it. Then when he does decide to come back for 1 more year, that might not be it either. Brett Favre, initially saying he would retire after the upcoming season, is now leaving the door open. Go figure. Meanwhile, the Bears holding rookie camp at Hallis Hall throughout the weekend. And here's an idea. Since they neglected to address the offensive situation in the draft, how about using 2nd-round pick Devin Hester on offense? They brought him in as a cornerback, but at Miami, Hester was explosive as a receiver and running back. But for now, the Bears say his job is interceptions and returning kicks.
I'm capable of being a great corner. I know the special team, everybody looking at that it's already there, but I don't want to be labeled as just a special team guy. I want to be labeled as a lockdown corner, and that's what I'm out here trying to do, trying to better myself each and every day and take all I can from the 2 coaches and just go on with that. I'm ready. Just waiting for the opportunity for the coaches to give me a chance and go out here and just try to make a big impact on defense as well as special teams.
Well, the Bulls season is over, which means the improvement season begins, and the Bulls couldn't be in a better situation. 2 first-round draft picks and the 2nd-best chance to have the 1st overall selection. If you're wondering how a playoff team could have a shot at the 1st overall pick, well, it all stems from that good old Eddie Curry trade to the Knicks. The Bulls get New York's 1st-round pick this year, and since the Knicks weren't much better than my high school team this season, the 1st pick could wind up in Chicago.
A lot of the reasons that we have some of the things we do, the draft picks and the cap room, are decisions we made over the last 3 years to get rid of certain players' contracts. So we are in a position right now. And if, just for the sake of argument, we decide that we're going to keep this core together and we add 2 players in the draft, go out in free agency and get a couple players we like, there's no reason for me to believe we're not going to be a better basketball team next year.
Lakers Suns Game 7. Somebody's going home. Is it Kobe? Former Bull Tim Thomas, the drive and the finish. Thomas was a beast in the paint. Hey, think we can get this guy back? Here he is again. Suns come all the way back from a 3-1 series deficit to blow out the Lakers and advance 90-65. Briefly, the Chicago Fire tied Kansas City 1-1, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes the checkered flag at the Crown Royal 400. It's his first victory since winning here in Chicago last July. 3rd round of the Wachovia Championship, where Jim Furyk leads the way. This is his 2nd shot on 16, and it's a beauty. It sets up a birdie. He had 5 birdies and 1 bogey on the day. He shot a 68 today, putting him at 11 under going into the final round, 1 stroke ahead of Retief Goosen. Really? Arena football, the Rush set a new franchise record for points in a game, lighting up the scoreboard with 84 points. They win at 84-48. Nice dive right here. If you're a defensive lineman, you have to gloat a little bit. You don't get in there very much. And finally, check out the fan treatment Barry Bonds is receiving in Philly. Ruth did it on hot dogs and beer. Oh, there's plenty more from the city of brotherly love as he closes in on Ruth's home run mark. He did not homer. Today he is still 4 short, but Ruth did it on hot dogs and beer.
Those Philly fans are so empathetic, aren't
You
they?
got it. You got it.
That's terrific. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. When we come back, a special night at the Sox game for a group of young ball players.
What would happen if we took a trip and only made left turns? Where would we end up?
All of these cars are facing left.
Does anybody want some licorice?
What would we find?
Hey, take this left turn right here.
And what would find us?
Buffalo. Wow.
You think they're gonna smell the licorice?
Tell better stories in the 270 horsepower, 7-passenger Nissan Pathfinder.
Monday at 10. The traffic light changes, but some government vehicles aren't stopping. ABC 7's Ben Bradley shows you who's running red lights, how often, and why some aren't paying the tickets. Guess who's running red? Monday at 10.
What'd you watch on TV last night?
Nothing. I lost my remote. I mean, I looked high and low for that remote. Like it just vanished. Poof, into thin air. Looked above the bookshelf, out in the car, under the thingy by the frog statue. It was like ridiculous.
New Yoplait Light Thick and Creamy. The first light yogurt thick enough to hug a spoon.
How does a remote get in a freezer? I mean...
Now Yoplay's great taste in Yoplait Light Smoothie.
What are you doing? I'm trying to call my mom, find out what she wants for Mother's Day, but her service never works. Man. You know, if only she had a more reliable network and a newer, cooler phone. Yeah. You got any ideas?
Nope. Looking for the perfect Mother's Day gift? Get the only razor that comes with the network, the VCast razor. Sleek, stylish, and just $79.99 for a limited time. Verizon Wireless. It's the network.
Sports on ABC 7. Brought to you by Ford. Built for Chicago. Built for the road ahead.
Shut up, or I'm gonna show you. Now you like me now. Bring it on. Shut you up, son. Oh, yeah, come on. I'm a tough man.
That's it, boys. Spotted up for second place.
Ford F-150, best-in-class towing and payload, plus 0% financing for 60 months.
Ain't no doubt my king of the mountains built for tough.
And finally tonight, some young sluggers rub elbows with the boys in the big leagues. Players with the Utica Little League were the special guests of the Chicago White Sox tonight at U.S. Cellular Field, wearing the Sox jerseys. The Sox helped their team field in Utica after a tornado ripped it apart 2 years ago. Before tonight's game at the Cell, the youngsters were brought out onto the field, met Southpaw, some of the Sox players, and got some cool Sox gear as well. There's Southpaw shaking with his right hand, though. Of course, that's gentlemanly. A moment they will surely remember for a long time, and after what happened in Utica, it's nice to see him out there doing something that makes him happy.
It should make quite an impression on them.
Indeed.
That's our report for tonight. I'm Karen Jordan.
I'm Rob Johnson with Phil Schwartz, Ryan Cheverini, and the entire ABC 7 News team. Have a great night. We will see you tomorrow.
ABC 7 is 24/7, online all the time at abc7chicago.com.
Closed captioning of this newscast is brought to you by Singular. Singular brings you the largest digital voice and data network in America. Singular, raising the bar.
Refreshing iced coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. Made with our freshly brewed coffee and available in 9 delicious flavors. Better hold on tight. America runs on Dunkin'.
Hey, Mom, I know you're going to be disappointed, but I'm not going to be able to make it home.
Come on, it's your birthday.
But I have 2 papers that I have to do.
Well, you have my choice card if you decide to fly home.
No, Mom, sorry.
You'll be there when I look around.
Chase email alerts keep you on top of your checking account.
Don't pull up right in front of the house.
Show me that you're mine, girl. All right.
Email alerts to keep you prepared for life's little surprises. Your choice, your Chase.
What'd you watch on TV last night?
Nothing. I lost my remote. I mean, I looked high and low for that remote. Like, it just vanished. Poof, into thin air. Looked above the bookshelf, out in the car, under the thingy by the frog statue. It was, like, ridiculous.
New Yoplait Light Thick and Creamy. The first light yogurt thick enough to hug a spoon.
How does a remote get in a freezer? I mean...
Now Yoplay's great taste in Yoplait Light Smoothie.
They're here. The Fit, new from Honda. The Fit is go.
Turn heads. Lead the pack in a 2006 Ford Fusion. With great gas mileage that means fewer trips to the pump. All for under 18 grand. Lease a Fusion from your local Ford store for just $219 a month. Visit our showrooms or go to FordVehicles.com.